Yeah, but what's the significance of that?
The content is different. The content is different. Because I did read this with some concern. But the content is different. If you look at the evidence leader,
Perhaps wait for Commissioner Baloyi's point.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
I think I know where she's headed, but you may go.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
You can refer to another statement if you want to, but
Not
this is,
another,
you
the
know,
statement that
yeah,
I
this is the
obtained.
statement that I'm referring to, where he says, we offloaded them at the parking area and we left and drove back to continue with our duties. So on this statement at least, they didn't stay beyond taking your bags off their vehicle and then they left. You make them more present than what he's describing here. You say the bags were offloaded, we opened them and we took the bricks out and we were lining them up and they were still there.
Commissioner, once again, if you see who took the statement, when I started off leading my evidence and reading my statement, it's obtained by the team investigating this theft of drugs. To me, all of their statements are questionable. I think even if we call Sergeant Governor and show him the statement that I obtained from him, if he says otherwise, then I'll say, Commissioner, you have a point here. These statements, when they were taken from these individuals, I can't say specifically for Governor, but what I've noticed a trend, that all of these statements seem to follow a certain pattern where it's pointing fingers at certain individuals. I've got a statement filed in the docket that the same team investigating the theft of drugs from Port Shepstone are very familiar with. They've seen it, they have it. So you go take another statement that's contradicting what this individual said to me. And maybe for the record, we can read his statement out and compare it. But I'm not sure why I didn't have him under duress. I don't make him present when I'm opening the lock, so I'm not misleading in his statement. If you look at my statement, although initially, there was...
No, you had made him present when you opened the lock at the depot.
No, I'm saying I did that in error because of Pangase's notes. But when I did take Governor and Mkize's statement, nowhere does it say they were present when we opened the lock. My point being, Commissioner, there's no deception.
Are you saying he made these allegations in this paragraph under duress?
I'm not saying under duress, but I'm
suggesting?
saying I took a statement from him freely and voluntarily, and it says otherwise. Maybe we look at that, Commissioner?
Yes, I said you can refer us to it.
Okay.
But maybe before you do that, can we at least accept that we are talking about a signed statement from Governor?
Yes, that's correct.
So he indicated, in fact, it is under oath.
Yes.
He indicated under oath that which he describes there is in fact his testimony under oath in this statement.
I'll just hear from the evidence leader which filed this.
Okay.
Chair, Commissioner Baloyi, might it assist to go to the other statement? Then perhaps I don't know what point the Colonel wants to make.
I think he's asking you to assist him locate that
It's
other
page
statement.
267.
It sounds like Commissioner Kumalo has it.
Page 627. That is the first Governor statement. The one you are discussing is the second Governor statement. So if I guess, Colonel, you can keep your finger on one of them while you discuss the other, so you don't lose. Those are the two Governor statements that we have. And then perhaps then you may address yourself to Commissioner Baloyi.
Okay.
Listening?
Okay. Commissioner, may I read paragraph 5 of page 627?
Yes, you may.
Sergeant Mkize and I, together with other DPCI members, transferred these black bags from the container into a H1 marked state vehicle that I was driving. I counted 27 such bags. We were escorted by Lieutenant Colonel Jacob and his team to Isipingo SAP, where we assisted in offloading the black bags. The DPCI members were busy counting the yellow and black bricks of suspected cocaine when we left the scene. From my observations, each bag contained approximately 20 such bricks. We then left the scene and proceeded with our normal duties.
Yes, and you say that says what?
It says that he noticed 20 That's what he's saying, approximately 20 bricks in each bag. And Commissioner, I want to further add that no policeman involved in something of this nature will not write up their pocketbook properly to say what they had done on that day.
You see, I raise this with you because in your statement at paragraph 25, you say, we proceeded with the count of the bricks of cocaine with the police border members.
Yes.
It's not the same as what you're reading in paragraph 5.
Yes.
He's saying you were counting. He left when you were counting. That's what he says in the one that you're referring
Yes.
to. But you're saying something completely different in your paragraph 25. You say, we proceeded with the count of the bricks of cocaine with the border police members.
Yes.
So you are involving them in the counting in that paragraph 25.
Yes, and like I'm saying, Commissioner, they may not have been part of the physical counting. There's only so many people that can handle exhibits, but they were there. They
He
conveyed.
says he left when you were counting. The statement that you refer to assist you, it says he left when you were counting. Your statement says he was involved with the counting. Do you not see
I
and
said
understand?
when we proceeded to start
Counted
counting.
with the borders with
say
you.
what?
Proceeded.
You state in your statement you counted with the border police members. That's what you convey. My English is not that bad. Trust me, it's not that bad. You convey in that first line that you counted with the border police members. That's what that line says. And until one reads something different, the only meaning of your sentence is Governor and Mkhize were involved, were part of the count. And Governor says, in the one statement, he says, we offloaded the bags and we left. But he says the same thing in even more words. In the one that you referred to, he says, we offloaded the bags and left when the police were counting. So he doesn't include himself in the count.
This is a statement he furnished me, Commissioner,
Okay.
under oath.
All right, thank you. And then lastly, can I, in fact, two last questions. And the one is just to make sure that I have correctly understood your evidence. In the time after the exhibits are deposited at Port Shepstone, from that date on, you did not have anything to do with these exhibits. You never came to know what's in that room, how many are in that room. Physically, you've never walked in to check, nothing. You had nothing to do with the physical exhibits in the entire time until they were stolen. Yes, your last
Engage,
engagement with the physical items was at Isipingo outside the police station.
yes.
Okay, all right. And then lastly, and I promise you this is lastly, I still don't understand, and it might be that I need you to say it again so I understand the explanation properly. You returned to the container on the 1st of July. And it's not clear, so it's not clear to me why you returned, because on the 22nd, you got the consignment that you were told was in the container. You were told 27 bricks. I think that's what you all expected. It's 27 bricks. As it turns out, it's 27 bags, I think. So you all are happy and good. In fact, your informant, crime intelligence, has left. He's happy that, in fact, what he had been informed was coming through. It has been found. You're done. When you go back, you say, why do you go back?
To the container.
Yes.
Because
And remember that your evidence is you also looked around. You did a pick. That's what you tell us, that you did do an eye observation of the container and you were satisfied that you got everything. Why do you go back?
Okay, it's a norm that we sealed the container, we went back, and I think I explained previously, there were 5,300 and I think 50 kilogram bags, which confirmed what the packing list said. Now, if I had noticed that there were 10 bags short, 10 50 kilogram bags, then we're looking at a 500 kilogram deficit within your load. If there were 10 bags short, then it would lead me to draw the inference that it's possible the consignee knew about this because they're supposed to be expecting a certain number. Now there are 10 bags short, which amounts to the weight that that cocaine would have taken up. Because remember, containers are weighed as well to see whether it corresponds with what the documentation says. So that's the purpose of doing that further unpack. Firstly, to check there's no additional drugs. Secondly, to see if the packing list corresponds, to see if the consignee is being honest with us. So it's purely for that, for the sake of being thorough. That's the only reason.
The reason I ask and that I'm still confused and not clear about why you would go back is because in the way that you explain your return there and what you did there, it looks like you just went to count the numbers. You had a paper which tells you there's supposed to be 5395 bags, and then you're not customs, you're SEPs. You go back to verify that indeed there's 5395 bags, and from that you're satisfied. Your operation is done, shut, you got everything, and you leave. It doesn't make sense to me? Something doesn't make sense there? That you would go back just to go and count the bags?
What exactly doesn't make sense to you? Maybe I'll
You are looking for cocaine, counting the bags and finding that there are 5395 doesn't tell you anything.
Not merely counting, it's also inspecting to see that.
So
those
you
bags
took them
contain-
out. You took the bags out and inspected them. Is that what you're saying?
Not every bag, a few bags would have been inspected. A few bags would have been inspected. In fact, those bags were such that as you're handling them, you can see a little bit inside of them, you know?
So if there's a few bags, you don't have intel that there's more, right? So you're just a random police officer who is searching. You now tell us, in your statement, you don't say, in fact, I think what you explained earlier, you say, in fact, your statement says, I proceeded to the CHC depot. I had arranged the clearing agent to be present to unpack the container, and we conducted a count of the animal feed. They amounted to 5395, which corresponded with the packing list. This further corroborated the rip-off methodology. The container was then officially released. So on your own statement in paragraph 35, all you went to do, or what you did on the scene, was to count the bags. And that's what I say, it doesn't make sense that a police officer would go back to a container only to go and count how many bags there are. And on the paper it says 5395, and you say, good, the container can go. That doesn't make sense at all.
I'm not sure what.
And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like sensible police conduct and use of time. At the very least, it doesn't seem to be. And so, let me put to you that it suggests to me at least, because it doesn't make sense, it suggests to me that there has to be another explanation why you did this. Either appearances of an investigation, you knew you got the 27 bonus bags, you thought it was bricks, you got the 27, so you knew you've got everything that your intelligence told you. You went there for another reason. Here you tell us I counted the bags, and I say that doesn't make sense. You would go back to count the bags. And then I want to suggest to you that at best, on the most charitable possible explanation, you went back for appearances of conducting an investigation when in fact there was actually no investigation you were conducting. These drugs were always destined to be stolen. And you knew that. You knew there's a plot about these drugs, and now you were just going through the motions so that you can show up a diary and say, see, we were doing an investigation, we were serious about this. That's what I suggest it looks like to me.
Commissioner, it's the norm in every rip-on, rip-off load to do what I had done. So if that's your insinuation with regards to me, then I think I won't take it personally. I would assume you'll have the same
Yes.
stance on
I'm
others.
saying that's what it looks like to me.
But I'm saying to you, it's the norm. It's the
Okay.
norm.
Keep in mind, we don't have evidence here of other instances. If you want, you can file an affidavit with the evidence leaders, which gives us all the other instances, a supported affidavit, where that is the practice. Right now, I'm working off what you have told us in your statement, why you went back, and it doesn't make sense to me what you say in the statement, and then I try and find an answer to the why would he go back? This doesn't make sense. What could be the real reason that he went back that he's not telling us? And I land at, given the facts of what happened here, from the time you first opened, in fact, from the time you called Sibia to come and join you, and you spoke to Nuswa and not your commander, and you made the decision, unsatisfactorily explained decision to move these exhibits from the depot to Isipingo, that you allowed these things to be moved without being bagged, without being sealed, to be transported to Port Shepstone. Your failure to act, to speak at the very least to your commander when he tells you that there was an attempted burglary, the sampling that doesn't make sense, that idea to sample and how it is conducted, that by telephone you tell Mpangase, who is a warrant officer, to get a sample, send it to the lab. Your discussion with Tsedi about destroying these exhibits even before investigations are completed, the failure to invoke the authority of your superior to get you lab attention to deal with these exhibits, and finally your failure to even speak to him when you are told there was an attempted burglary, and you're excusing yourself by saying, well, it was his to deal with. He's my superior. I couldn't ask him to try and do something about it. All of that, all those facts and more that I'm listing to you suggest to me that any semblances, any appearances of investigation that are contained in this diary, that you and I agreed yesterday that it's actually on the face of it, we shouldn't take it at face value because it contains a reconstruction of facts after the event, a misrepresentation. It has dates of entries where we know the entry was not made on that day. We didn't know until you testified. So nothing that is here in that diary is reliable, and I'm suggesting to you that my view, the impression I have gained from this is these recorded investigations in the diary, and you're returning to that place on the day when there was no detention order. There was no detention order when there are rules about how you go about issuing an instruction to detain. You didn't do that. You release it. When it was under SARS, you say, I didn't know it was under SARS. I'm saying all of those facts, they lead me to the impression that your visiting that place on the 1st of July was again part of a scheme of creating the impression that there was a real investigation, when in fact there was no investigation at all that was going on. You were just going through the motions. That's the last thing I get to say. You can comment.
Commissioner, once again, I'll say to you, it's the norm to go and unpack a container. You're entitled to your view. I think I've said more than enough regarding all of those issues that you alluded to. And I don't think there's much more I can say to change your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I will still stand by it. There's no semblance of an investigation, no such thing. If you had to compare my inquiry with every other rip-on, rip-off load, you will notice mine is much more, there's much more investigation done. And even, Commissioner, I would have thought that the Commission would have familiarized themselves with the nature of these cases to see if indeed this is something that's a red flag to go and unpack a container just to verify that there's nothing else there, that the packing list corresponds I don't know what would lead you to believe that it's a
I've
semblance of...
invited you to give us a statement that sets out all that procedure that you're talking about, because we've listened to many witnesses about these kind of activities, about operations, drug busts. We've listened to many witnesses explaining, including witnesses that have participated. It's the first time, and maybe that's why I even waste 5 minutes on it, that I hear, that anyone witness has come here and said, we search and then we go back to the container to search again. So I'm inviting you to feel free to file a further statement that sets out that where that procedure is contained, that allows you, whether it's oral, verbal, practice, you tell us, and then you list cases where you say that has been done after the initial search, and we ordered that the container be detained. These were the facts, and we went back and searched. I'm sure we will not reject that kind of affidavit. And it's only fair that you file it if you have something like that.
Okay, Commissioner, I'll look for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, before, if I may, I seek an indulgence, and it's because I had said I've completed my questions. However...
May I quickly ask mine?
Oh, yes, if it's a question, Chair. I thought you were closing the...
Thank you. It's just on one issue. The number of questions will depend on your responses, Colonel. Colonel, this relates to what you say in paragraph 9 of your statement, the statement prepared for the Commission. There you say Umlazi is 11 kilometers away from the depot, which I saw as a risk, and we were working in an uncovered area of the depot. And my sense, I think, when you substantiated on this was basically that you feared that people from Umlazi might descend on the scene and forcibly take away the drugs. That was my sense.
Yes, that's always a possibility.
I'm correct.
You are correct.
Yes. I assume that there must be quite a lot of searches and seizures in that area, the CHC depot. I assume so. Surely this was not an isolated incident.
The ones I'm aware of, Commissioner, was the one of Warrant Officer Sanders and this one.
But surely it could not have been. It just could not have been.
You said, Chair, there could not have been just
I'm
two.
saying I would be very surprised if this was the only search and seizure at the CHC depot, even if you yourself are not aware of any others. I would be very surprised.
No, there ought to have been.
There ought to have been, yes. Now, in your experience, have people from Umlazi ever descended on a crime scene and forcibly taken whatever it was that was discovered at the crime scene, in your experience?
Can I answer that in two parts, Chair? The volume of this made me consider the risk factor attached to it, the magnitude of this, the value of this drugs recovered. So there's only two major drug busts that I'm aware of at CHC. That was the first one of the Mandrax, 547 kilos, and this was...
Okay, that's the first part. Second part?
Yeah, so it's only two of those. So
I'm saying you said you're going to answer my question in two parts. So the second part of answering me.
Just repeat the question. I lost I lost my train of thought, Chair. Could you please?
And I'm happy that I did not disturb you. You lost it on your own. All right, but that was not my question anyway.
Yes.
My question was, have people from Umlazi ever descended on a crime scene at the CHC depot?
Not that I'm aware.
And removed whatever it was that was discovered when a search and seizure was conducted?
Not that I'm aware of, Chair.
Okay. Now, so your fear was based purely on surmise. pure surmise. There's a township close by.